All right, guys, I'm going to tell you my story of how I manifested my husband. I know that so many people are interested in manifesting their life partner. I didn't actually know that this was such a big thing, but now that I see how many people are looking for their partner, it was something that came to me really easily. So, for those of you that are struggling to find your life partner, just stay tuned and see if some of the information that I share with you gives you some kind of help. Okay. So I had always been the type of person that manifested the loser type guys, the guys that were just not going anywhere in life. And I had been and this is when I was young. I was like really young when I met my husband, my significant other. I was 21, turning 22 when I met him. But prior to that, 2 weeks prior to me meeting him, I had ended a 2 year on again, off again relationship with someone that I knew was not going anywhere. He wasn't a bad guy. He just wasn't going anywhere in life. And he wasn't like my one, my soul, the one that my soul loved. And so I got out of that relationship. I was in this transition period where I was leaving a roommate on bad terms. It was not a good thing. I was leaving that. I was leaving this relationship, and my grandmother was dying of cancer. It was like a lot of endings. And so I remember being in that, like, and I don't know specifically in that time, but I remember being in that time. I remember like driving in my car, and I had no desire to be in a relationship at all. I just remember driving in my car and saying out loud to God, I am ready to meet the one. I am ready to be in a relationship that's going to like carry me through my life. I am ready. I am done with being in these dead end relationships. And in that moment, it was like this conviction, this like, I'm done with this. I don't want any more of that. And I'm ready for the one. But I didn't know about manifesting then. I didn't know about creating my own reality. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just saying it. And so I put it out there to God, and I said, these are the aspects of the person that I desire. I wanted someone that's faithful, that wants fidelity in their life. I want someone that is a good person, a good-hearted person. I want someone that comes from a good family. I want someone, I think I even said non-smoking, but that's really funny. I'll tell you about that. I wanted someone that like had like goals in life. And I don't think it was I think it was a short list. I don't think it was a long list. I did not specifically say I wanted like certain looks in this person. It just wasn't something that occurred to me. I just assumed that like God would know what that person looked like. And so I formulated my list. I sent it out there, and then I got busy with my life. I was moving into this new house. My other grandmother had just passed away I think 2 months prior to that. So my grandmother that was dying of cancer actually passed within that 2 week period. And I just put that out of my mind. It was like I said it and I put it out of my mind and I didn't think about it. I got busy doing my life. It was the day of my grandmother's funeral, which happened to be New Year's Eve day. And we go to the funeral, and as we're leaving, one of my really close friends asked if I would come to her New Year's Eve party. And I was like, no, like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I just want to go home. I want to cry. I want to be by myself. And her and my sister, which was really unusual for my sister, were really urging me to go to this party. Like, my sister, it was the way that she was doing it. It was out of character for her. She was like, no, you need to go. Like, you need to go. You don't need to be home. Let's go. We can drive separate. If you don't have fun, you can just leave by yourself or whatever. And it was like they were both like pushing me to go. And finally I was like, fine, I'll just go, whatever. So we drove separate. We go to the party. We're having a good time. I had known kind of like some of the people in that circle, but not all of them. And in walks this guy. And immediately I'm like, who is that? Who's that? And my friend's like, oh, that's just Tommy. I'm like, well, I just need to know who just Tommy is. So we go through the night, him and I, like, it was this immediate, like, sense of comfort. It was this immediate sense of knowing. It was just this, like, I know you. Like, I know you. I didn't know at the time what that was, but it was the soul recognition of knowing someone on a soul level. And I felt this comfort that I'd never felt before with other people. I was not comfortable with men, like immediately, like comfortable with them. I always had this like shield up, and with him, I just felt like really comfortable. So we ended up staying there that night because we had been drinking, and I stayed in her daughter's room, and I think he fell asleep on the couch, or I don't know. But we got up in the morning and everybody had left, and he's there and he's helping wash their dishes. Now he's 2 years younger than me. No, he's 3 years younger than me. At the time he was 20, turning 21. I was turning 22, whatever, do the math. He's younger than me by 2 years. So he is 20 years old, a guy, and he's like at his friend's house and he's helping like clean up. And so he's washing the dishes and he turns around and he has like this spaghetti on his or something on the front of his shirt. And I just, in that moment, I'm like, this is a really good guy. Like, everybody else left the house a mess, could care less about their friends. And this guy is here. And it, like, even saying it makes me emotional. Even it's like something silly. It makes me emotional because that's what I asked for. I wanted someone that had integrity. And so we start dating. I'm not going to go into the whole story because this is a 16-year ongoing story. But we start dating. I am head and like over heels in love with this person. I knew that he was the one. Like, I just knew it. And he ends up breaking up with me. And I was devastated, like beyond devastated. So at 22 years old, being intuitive, being psychic, I knew who he was to me. I knew like what this meant to me in my life. I knew like we were supposed to get married. Like, this, you're my one. And so when he broke up with me, it devastated me. And ultimately what happened was I learned through that experience what I ultimately needed to learn to coach other people. I learned how belief systems were formed. I learned like this whole process of manifestation through that one experience. So we part ways. I'm like so upset because he breaks up with me. I think it was like months later. I don't even know. It might have, I think it was months later. I am at the state fair. I'm walking through one of the like horse barns, and I just have this thought, like, whatever, I'm over him. If there is someone else that's out there for me that's better, whatever, like, I'm done. And I just remember this like belief of like just letting go. And I let go. And within 10 minutes, he calls me. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. How does this even work? And so we got back together and we ended up dating for, I think, a couple years. And through that process, there was a lot of things that came forward that I didn't like. There was aspects about him that came forward that I didn't like. And he, like I said, he was a smoker at the time. I had smoked actually too. He was a smoker. He ends up quitting smoking during that time. And I end up quitting smoking at that time. So we did end up creating that like aspect. He was drinking way too much, way more than I wanted in my life. So we were prepared to get married. We were 2 weeks before we were going to get married, and I called the wedding off. I just knew that this was not the path that I wanted to go on. I did not think for a second that we would come back together. Like, if you would have told me that we would have gotten back together, gotten married, and had children, I would have been like, you're crazy. There's no way. I'm done. So I walk away from him the relationship, the wedding, all of it. We're done. We are apart for a year and a half, I believe. And I had dated other people. I had learned about the law of attraction by this point, or aspects of the law of attraction. I was doing like spiritual work. I was opening myself up. I was healing. I was doing all this work. And I started to feel I had a vision. I had a vision that he was like coming back into my life. I would start having dreams. I would start seeing like the company that he worked for, their vans all the time. Like all this stuff started like happening. And I thought I was losing my mind. Like, so literally from someone that like called off a wedding to someone that's like, you're going to get back with this person was crazy. So I ended up coming to this point where like I was being pulled to contact him, and my mind was like, you have lost your freaking mind. What are you doing? You should not call him. Like, so I'm having this inner battle of like contacting him and not contacting him and not. You might like know what this feels like. So I had this like emotional breakdown because I didn't know what to do. The night that this all had happened, a former client actually like asked me about him, which she had not asked me about him like in months. And she just randomly asked me like, how's he doing? And I just like bust out in tears. I'm like, I am having this inner battle because I've been wanting to contact him, but I can't. Like, so the next morning I had off of work and I got into the bathtub and I just got really quiet and really still. And I just asked God, my higher self, like, what should I do? Like, I'm asking you to lead me. What should I do? And I just got really still and really clear. And I heard very clearly, call him. It's all going to be fine. So I jump out of the bathtub really quick. I text him and I'm like, and the whole time I'm like, oh my God, he's got a girlfriend. Oh my God, he's not going to answer, like all of that stuff. And within like 10 or 15 minutes, he texts me back and I'm like, oh my God. So he texts me back and he decides like he wants to talk to me. Now, like, obviously there's like a huge gap in there between like when we were like communicating. So he ends up coming over that night after work and we talk and I'm like, look, like I cannot move on. Like no matter what I do, no matter who I go out with, I cannot move on. And so he felt the same way. Like he had been trying to date other people and I think he actually was seeing someone when I texted him and he like cut it off with that person because he felt like so strongly about me. And so we dated for a year from that point, and then by the end of that year, it was like this feeling of like, okay, for myself, I need to either commit or I need to let go. It was just like this crossroad feeling. And so I just committed. I was like, okay, like you're my person. Like we need to like be together, come together, like work this stuff out. Like we need to be together. And so within 2 weeks, I don't know what the 2 week thing is for me, but it is like 2 weeks always happens. Within 2 weeks from me deciding that I was going to commit to him, we were married. So our first wedding was like an uphill battle. Like literally nothing worked out. Like my mom and I were fighting, like our family were arguing, like the venue that we wanted, what didn't have the right day. Like I couldn't find the dress, all the things. Like nothing was working out. This time, I call that the dress rehearsal for the real wedding. 2 weeks, literally everything fell into place. I mean, everything. Got the venue, found the cake maker, went to try the dress on. It was the like finding the dress experience, like the mascara running, crying, bawling, all of that thing. Like all of it. And the most magical things came together. Like the synchronicities that happened around this wedding was incredible. My mom's friend who lived in Tennessee at the time only traveled to Delaware where we live once a year, and that was in the summer. We got married in November. She and her husband just happened to becoming that week that we were getting married. Like, it had already been planned out. My aunt's pastor, like, they asked him and he said, "Of course, I'll marry you." Like, it literally, like, everything was like falling into place. It was amazing. So we got married November 24th, 2010. It was cold, really cold, and we got married outside. We got married in a little tiny, like, literally right down the road from our house, a little tiny outdoor gazebo park. It's a little park in our town. We had, like, my aunt made hot chocolate and passed out hot chocolate while everybody was sitting waiting. I mean, it was just a really, really magical, beautiful experience. Fast forward, we are celebrating our 9th year wedding anniversary in November. We have gone through a lot. So what I want to share with you through my perspective and what I've learned on my journey with my relationship and manifesting and creating is I had to do a lot of inner work. And I'm still doing that work. It's ongoing. There's things and aspects about my husband that I still, am looking at, like, what part of me is creating that. There's still things, obviously, within myself that I want to heal. So through this channel, I will give you some of that information, what I've done to heal, what I've done to bring our relationship into harmony, what I've done to create, like, in fire, passion in our marriage. So some of the tips that I wanted to share with you guys is when I attracted him, like, as you heard from the beginning, I was specific in I was ready for my one. So your one, if you are calling in that person, the person that your soul loves, that loves you, the person that it's beyond this physical, right? Like, obviously there's an attraction there, but beyond this, like, the soul connection, that's what you're longing for, that connection of that person that's going to love you through thick and thin, because this is, like, not always easy. You know what I mean? Like, life can be a shit show sometimes. The person that loves you loves the shadow and the light. That is the person that you're looking for. And my husband is that person for me. No matter what I throw at him, no matter what we've gone through, we have grown, we have learned, we have grown together, we have stood by each other through thick and thin. And I think that's what you're looking for. So get clear on that. Be aware of, like, when you're asking, this is a part of those belief systems. Do you believe that you're worthy of that? I had no doubt. Like, there's no resistance in there. I asked for it and I knew. So when you're asking for your person, do you believe that you're worthy of that? Do you believe you're worthy of that love? Do you believe that person exists for you? If any of those things that I just mentioned, like, rung a bell, like, oh, no, I don't believe that, that's where your work is. Your work is to figure out what you believe around love, what you believe around relationships, what you believe around the one. What are your beliefs around that? Starting to get clear about what this means to you, okay? A lot of times our relationships growing up, our family dynamics, the lack of people in our life, like, all of those dynamics created beliefs within you around love and relationships. And sometimes that can hinder you bringing that person in. Are you open to receiving them? Are you open, like, when you speak it out to God that you are calling this person in, are you open to receiving them? How does it feel? Like, does it feel like I can ask God for this person? I can tell God, like, what I'm looking for and I can let it go? and I can allow that person to come into my life? Or does it feel resistant, like I'm not ready? I'm not ready because I'm not good enough. I'm not enough yet. I've got to do all of this work on myself. If any of that came up, that is something that you need to work on releasing. A lot of times we get bogged down with these beliefs that you have to do all of this stuff because this person isn't going to love you as you are. I am here to tell you, when you meet the person that your soul loves, they love you, warts and all. Like literally all of the stuff. I love my husband. There are things about him I would like to change, as he would like to change some things about me, but I love him. Like it's this endless, timeless, soulful love. So as I'm speaking, if these things are coming up and you're like, no, I've got to do all these things before I can let that person into my life, that's where the work is. You are amazing as you are. I know there's aspects of your life that you are wanting to get better, fix, heal, whatever, to allow that person in. And that's okay. But knowing that you are enough now is a part of your process. Knowing that you are good enough, that you have the ability to love this person and let them love you, that is your work. Okay? As you are clearing all of this stuff out, staying open and not worrying about making it happen. You cannot make it happen. You cannot make it happen. The more that you try to make it happen, the farther you push that person away from you. I feel like in my mind this image of like two little Sims and they're walking around like they're looking for each other and they're zigging and they're zagging. And they're like magnets, right? And as you start to clean up your stuff and you start to like allow God to work through you, allow those inspired actions to come, you literally magnetize, you come into each other's sphere. So don't force it to happen. Don't force the action to happen. The thing around my sister nudging me and pushing me, that was God moving through me, making it happen. So you will be inspired to an action that probably it feels very normal. Like, okay, I've got to go to this party, or, oh, I've got to run to the grocery store, or, hey, so-and-so just called. They want to go out for Taco Tuesday. I don't know, but it's something that feels like, okay, I can go do that. Inspired action. There's not force around it. There's not like, oh, I've got to get up. I've got to get all dressed up and like go out to this bar tonight because I'm going to probably meet that person. It's not that. It's not. It's literally like, oh, I need to go to Barnes and Nobles. I need to get that book for this project that I'm doing. It's literally like simple. Hey, no, I want you to come to this party. I don't want you to be alone. Okay, fine, I'll come. Like it's so like natural and not forced and easy, okay? It's literally when you're not looking, really. That's why I suggest you just get really busy on your life. Get really busy doing projects around your house, around your home, apartment, wherever you live. Help other people. Do things that inspire you. Go work at an animal rescue if you have tons of time and you're like constantly in your head. Go get busy doing things that you love and forget about it. When you are trying to manifest something that is important to you, we put this timeline on it. We make it feel like it has to happen right now. Like, I've been waiting for this person or all this money to come or whatever. I need it to happen yesterday. And so we put this timeline on it. What would it matter if you knew that within a year you were going to meet that person? Like, what if it took a year? And I know like the part of your ego was like, no, that's too long. But what if you knew in a year you would be with the person that you're going to be with the rest of your life? Or whatever that looks like for you. What if that was the case? Like, okay, a year is a long time, but it's not that long. It's not 5 years. Like, if I knew that in a year I would be with the person that I was going to be with forever, or my person that I'm going to be with extended amount of time, then that feels good. Like, I can get busy doing other things and not worry about it. And it kind of takes the pressure off of like trying to figure out when this person is coming, which is exhausting. So let your timeline kind of like fall away. Let it be like fun. Okay, like this person's coming within a year or so, and that's okay. And automatically you should start feeling yourself expanding, like, that feels good. Like, I just know this person's coming and it's okay if it's a year. Okay. So we've covered getting specific. I know you have preferences, and you probably have a long list of preferences, and other relationships have built those preferences for you, and that's okay. Go back through your list. Is it something that like is a hard, like, I have to have this in a person? Or is it something that can be like a generalized, like, God, if this is the one that my soul loves, if this is the one that's gonna like be the best relationship, I'm calling for the highest and best. And I can let some of these aspects go. That's within you. If there's something that you're like, no, I have to have this in a partner, leave it. Just go through your list and see how you feel around it. Okay, so be ready, be open, ask God for the one that your soul loves and that loves your soul back. Be clear about the belief systems that are in there that are holding you back. The I'm not lovable, I don't deserve love, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. All of that stuff is the stuff that needs to be cleared and let go of as you are allowing this person into your life. Stay open, have fun, let life inspire you without expectation, because when you get good at manifesting, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this thing to get that thing. No, you just got to go have fun without expectation, and just allow it to happen, and it will. I believe that everybody in this life manifests the things that they desire. They have the potential. This person that you desire is here for you. They're looking for you. It's the same side of the same coin, right? If you are looking for something, it is equally looking for you. They are equally looking for you. They are looking for exactly what you have to offer. So we get so one-sided, and we think we're the one that's like looking for this person. We're the one that's like doing all this work. They're equally on the other side doing this to come together, to be pulled into your life. Okay. I hope this is inspiring for you. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them below. And that's all I got for you today. All right, bye.